round of applause. What an incredible year. And really excited to be here and just really share my story of ACN and just the incredible journey that this has really provided my family and I over the last almost 13 years. So, like he said, I got started in ACN when I was 8 years old. So I was 22 years old when I got started in ACN, and when I was introduced to this business, I didn't know something like ACN existed. And by the show of hands, who had no idea that something like ACN existed? I had no idea, right? So when I was introduced to this business, this was a completely new concept to me, and I was excited and mad at the same time. And here's why I was excited and mad at the same time. I was excited because I felt like this was the greatest concept I had ever seen, but I was mad because I felt like, why didn't someone tell me about this a lot earlier in life? Is anyone with me on that, right? So, you know, at that time in my life, I was working a full-time job. I was working a part-time job. I was the youth pastor at my local church, so I was busy with that. And I just saw ACN as a way to make some extra income. I didn't, look at this business as something that I was going to do full-time. I just didn't. I mean, that was my mindset when I joined ACN. I've had so many people ask me over the years, like, when you joined this business, did you just know that this was going to be something that you were going to do long-term? Absolutely not. Like, I just did ACN because I wanted to pay off student loan debt, credit card debt, things like that. I had no idea it was going to turn into something as big as it did. Now, what happened to me is when I started making some money in ACN, I realized, well, if they're going to pay me a few $100s a month, if I work more, they'll pay me more money. Make sense? So that's all I did. I just kept working ACN, and I hit ETT in 6 days. I hit ETL in 31 days, and then I was in ridiculous momentum, big-time momentum in my business, and I made a fatal mistake in my ACN career, and that was I went on vacation. And this is really where I want to start my training tonight, talking about when you create momentum, you don't have the luxury to take your foot off the gas. Because when you take your foot off the gas, your momentum is going to stop. If you think about what momentum just means that when you start something, it's continuing to move forward. Yes or no? Yes. Well, in this business, you're the engine of your business. You are the fuel of your business. So, my mentor, Aaron Bird, who here knows who Aaron Bird is, right? So my mentor, Aaron Bird, he was a team coordinator when I got introduced to ACN. So he had just become a TC. Isn't that crazy to think of Aaron Bird as a TC? Right? So he was a brand new team coordinator. He talked about how he was a struggling team coordinator, like wasn't making a ton of money in ACN. And we started creating all this momentum on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, where I live. And I was going on vacation, or my family was going on vacation. And I'll never forget what Aaron Bird said. He said, "You're in a lot of momentum right now. You have great things going on. I would not go on that trip if I were you." And I can honestly tell you that was the only time in my entire ACN career I was uncoachable. Has anyone ever dealt with an uncoachable IBO? No, of course not, right? So I went on that trip, and when I went on that trip, all my momentum completely stopped when I came back. And here's why it had stopped. Because I was the only presenter. I was the only one launching. I was the only one leading by example. And by the show of hands, who in here kind of feels like you're kind of the only one that's really taking this serious on your team? Anyone? Right? Now some of you, you're just not raising your hand because your downline's here. So your hand's really raised internally. So you're like, I'm not going to raise my hand because I don't want to call out my whole team, but I know what you're talking about, right? Because it took me 18 months to hit team coordinator, 18 months. And the reason it took me 18 months was my 10th month in the business, I went on that trip. And I was just about 150 customers away from hitting the position of team coordinator, ridiculous momentum in my group. And I came back, and I just felt like the aliens had abducted my whole team. Has anyone's team ever been abducted by aliens? You know that, right? So it's like you come back and you're like, man, you were so excited. What happened to you? Like no one's picking up the phone call. Like you show up at Saturday training, no one's there but you, and you're like, what is going on, right? So I really had to start back over again when I came back from that trip. So I just try to tell all people that when you're in momentum, don't take your foot off the gas. The time you take your foot off the gas is when you qualify to go on the trips that ACN sends you on. See, that's what I've learned to do, because since 2008, I've qualified for every single trip that ACN takes us on. So ACN has taken us all over the world. ACN has taken us to the most luxurious places you could possibly think of for free. Who in here likes the idea of traveling for free? Oh, yeah. Right? Now listen, I'm not saying don't take a weekend off, taking a few days off, but if you think you can make it to the top of this company by taking 10 days off and not talking to anyone, you're fooling yourself. Because if you owned a Fortune 500 company, let's say you owned a corporation, and you had 1,000 employees in the corporation, if you just took 10 days off and didn't talk to anyone, and you didn't have leadership in place, what would happen to your company when you came back? It'd fall apart. Who in here acted a little bit differently when you had a substitute teacher in school than your real teacher? Yeah. So here's literally what happens. You know, if you look at all of us, okay, not all of us, but most of us, we come from a background of being an employee, right? There's nothing wrong with being an employee, but if you think of the mindset of an employee, we're told what to do on a daily basis, yes or no? Yes. Right? So if you think of what it really takes to build an organization, it really takes coaching and teaching your team exactly what to do on a what basis? Daily basis. So you just have to really stay in that momentum. So fast forward 18 months in, ACN, I hit team coordinator. I had 56 business partners join my team. My first month as a team coordinator. It was my first 5-figure month in ACN. That was September of 2007. And that's when I walked away from my full-time job. So I have not had a job for about 11 years, I guess. And I suggest not having a job. When you don't have a job, you can get more done. Yes or no? Yes. But here's what you want to do, right? Those of you that are doing this business and you have the hopes of going full-time ACN and really creating freedom for you and your family, my suggestion is do not go full-time hoping ACN will work. You go full-time when ACN's already working. See, that's the difference. And the mistake I see people make is they get so excited about this business, they quit their job, and then here's what starts happening. They start eating off of ACN instead of building ACN. See, there's a difference between eating off of this business and building the business. Because when you try to eat off of ACN, meaning this is what you're doing to pay all of your bills, you're going to come off differently to the prospect. You're going to come off to them like you need them to join. And when that prospect thinks you need them to join, they're not going to join. Because see, fear of loss is what motivates people to join the business. And our true colors will always shine through. So anytime someone calls me on my team and they say, listen, I'm so fired up, I just want to go full-time ACN, what do you think? I say, bad idea. Don't do it. Because there's power in part-time. And here's what I mean by power of part-time. When I look at the top leader I have in my group, Adam Rook, is a Platinum Regional Vice President within my organization. He still does ACN part-time as a Platinum RVP. And you might be thinking, well, why in the world would he do this part-time as a Platinum RVP? Because he doesn't want to lose the story. Here's what I mean by not losing the story, okay? See, let's say you're new in ACN, and you hit team coordinator or whatever, and you go full-time in the business, okay? What happens now is you become unrelatable to everyone that you're talking to that has a full-time job. Yes or no? Yes. Right? So if you go talk to someone and they find out you don't do anything else outside of this, here's what they automatically think. Well, of course this works for you. You have time to do it. I don't have time to do it because I have a full-time job. Who in here has ever piqued someone's interest and they say, well, I can't do it, I'm too busy? Right? So I tell my group, hold on to whatever you're doing as long as you can until it just becomes so ridiculous for you to go to work anymore. Now, Adam Rook, he's been trying to sell his company now for about the last year just because I make fun of him all the time that he still has to go to work, and it's starting to get really annoying to him, right? So he's, right? Because really what ACN does, ACN will literally make you hate traditional business. Yes or no? Yes. It just does. I mean, I know when I started making money in ACN, I was like, man, I don't want to do anything else than this business. Because for one, when you come into this environment, who in here just loves the positive environment? You know what I mean? Where everyone's excited, everyone's forward thinking, like no one's complaining. You go to work on Monday, what's everyone doing? Complaining, right? You go to Saturday training, everyone's fired up, they're so jacked up, and then you go to work on Monday morning, and everyone's just complaining about everything, and it makes you want to go full-time ACN. So, you know, that's really my first big tip of tonight, is that keep the story of part-time, because you're more relatable to people that you're talking to. Now, you go team coordinator and you're doing 50, 60 IBOs qualified in a month, maybe you will walk away. Who in here would walk away from a job 50 IBOs a month? Who'd do that? Some of you like, Cody Mackey, forget that power of part-time. I'm going full-time. And again, you're making the money to do it. Go ahead. But don't quit your job and then hope ACN works, and then blame ACN when it's not working because you're the one that quit your job. Say, a job is a great short-term plan, but a job is a horrible long-term plan. Because there's no security in the job. The security is in the person that holds the job. Right? Who in here has known someone that's worked for a company 20, 30 years, they thought they were secure, and then they lost it? So those of you that are here, okay, that are working maybe in a traditional business, or you're working for the state or government or a private company or a public company, my suggestion to you is work that job. That's your short-term plan. And ACN is your long-term plan. So when do you go full-time ACN? Here's when you go full-time ACN. When you are making enough money residually that it covers every single bill in your life, and you don't have to worry about any of the bills in your life, and you can live on your terms, and you can do what you want, when you want, with whomever you want to do it with. Who in here is looking forward to that life in ACN? Okay? Listen, that's the life my wife and I have been living for many years. And let me tell you something. The residual income lifestyle is something that there's no way I can describe it to you unless you live it, because as great as you think it is in your mind, it's so much greater. There's no way I can explain it to you. Let me try. Who would like me to try?
Go ahead and try.
Here's a normal day for my family. Okay, my wife and I, we have 4 kids. We live in southern Delaware. We have an 11-acre property. And my wife homeschools our 2 older boys. I had a homeschool actually built on our property. So we have a school built on our property where my wife homeschools our 2 boys. And she's a tutor. She used to be a registered nurse by trade, but she's been full-time now, stay-at-home mom for almost 10 years. And she's a tutor at a Christian homeschooling group called Classical Conversations. So it's a huge community that they get together once a week, and she literally teaches them what to teach, and then the homeschooling moms or dads go back to teach their kids. So a normal day for me consists of, we wake up when we kind of want to wake up. I mean, it's really weird because like when I grew up, okay, I was up extremely early, and my parents were up extremely early, and I was annoyed every morning. Who can relate with that life? Just like every morning you're annoyed. Like I grew up, my parents didn't have any money. Like we were not poor, but like we just didn't have any money. Let me put it that way, right? Didn't have a lot of money. So I remember waking up, and you know, I had an older brother. So when he took a shower, our hot water heater must have been like this small. Right? So he would take a shower, and then every morning, guess what I had to take? Whole shower. Like I hated it. I'd be like in the winter time, and I'd be freezing to death. And then in the summertime, right, you'd have to get up and go to school, and you'd literally have no sleep, because in my house where I grew up, you could only turn on the air conditioning if it was like in a state of emergency. Anyone grow up like that? Listen, if you grew up like that, you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't grow up like that, you just think that's super weird. Because we weren't allowed to turn on the air conditioning when I grew up, because that used a lot of what? Electricity. Like I wish they had ACN back then so my parents could have got paid off electricity. It would have been way different, right? So our normal day today through ACN, what the lifestyle's given us, is, you know, we wake up kind of a different time every day. I know that sounds pretty weird, but depending on what happens that night, like when you have 4 kids, who in here knows bedtime should be at a certain time, but it's usually never at a certain time? Yes or no? Yep. Right? So most families, if bedtime's at 8:30 and they don't get to bed till 10 o'clock, how are the kids the next day? Cranky, not listening. Everyone's in a bad mood. So what we do in our family, because we're free through ACN, is if we stay up late, we wake up late. Is that okay? Okay? If we go to bed on time, we wake up on time. So normal time we wake up is usually around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Now, my boys are usually the first ones up, so they get up kind of daylight. This is kind of what they do. So they know to wake up, let the dogs out. My son will usually come tap me on the head, turn off the alarm. So I'll go to my phone, turn off my Vivint, right? He'll let the dogs out. And then we have breakfast as a family. That's what we do. So I cook breakfast usually every morning for the family. And we sit down as a family and we eat breakfast together as a family, and we're not rushed. Okay? Like, to me, that is so valuable. Who would agree that that's very valuable? Yes. That you can just sit down with your family Monday through Friday, have breakfast together, not be rushed, because most people don't even eat breakfast. Because they have to get to what? Work. They have to get to work, right? Maybe grab a Pop-Tart or a donut or something as they're running out the door or something, right? So we have breakfast together as a family. And then the next thing that we do is we'll have prayer together as a family. So that's just what we do. So we'll start at my, now my second to youngest daughter, which her name is Abigail. She's 3. So she'll go ahead and she'll pray first. And we'll sit in a circle. We'll all pray together out loud. We'll pray about, who needs prayer for certain things, if someone's sick or just their day. And the reason we do this is because we want to teach our children to rely on God. That's very important to us, okay? So my daughter will pray first, and then my son Malachi will pray, and then my son Josiah, and then my wife, and then myself. And here's what's so great about it. Some days we're done in 10 minutes. Some days it takes us a half hour. Some days it takes us 45 minutes. See, I don't want to have to rush that, because to us, that's so important. Like, who in here would like to grow more spiritually, but you feel like you have no time? You know what I mean? It's just like life is so busy, and like everything is going on, and you're like, man, I want to grow spiritually, but like I need a house to live in, right? I have to go work, and it's just so hectic. So we do that, and then my wife and kids, they'll go out to the schoolroom during school, and they'll have school. I'll go into my office, my home office at ACN. I'll make some phone calls. What I usually do is I'll look at my report and the people that have joined in the last 30 days. Is I'll reach out to them, kind of give them a game plan of what to do. I'll work on qualifications, people that have been in close to 30 days, giving them a call, working on getting people qualified. I'll make sure my schedule's filled with PBRs. And then what I do is go to the gym, okay? So depending on what the weather's like, depends on what car I take. This is a normal day for me, right? So if it's nice outside, I'll take a sports car. If it's, right, because I don't like taking my cars in the rain. I don't like doing that, right? So if it is raining, I have a big monster truck that I had lifted, 7-inch lift, brand new Denali, 37-inch tires. So, you guys don't have trucks like, I live in Delaware, so we're real country down there, right? So I'll go to the gym and work out in the morning, and then I'll go grab lunch somewhere, and I have to be home at 1 o'clock because that is recess, okay? And I'm gym teacher and principal. So I'm home at 1 o'clock, and we have a half-acre pond on our property, and it's fully stocked with bass and bluegill and perch, and so it's a beautiful pond, and my boys like to fish, and because we have land, we have four-wheelers, and so we'll go on four-wheeler rides or play football or fish, so our recess is a little bit different than what most people's recess is. And then, after that, we'll go have lunch together as a family, or go have lunch. And then the younger kids will go down for a nap, and then I'll get my stuff ready, and I will get ready to go to PBR. So that is our normal day. That's just what it consists of. And I've told my wife so many times, like, I enjoy our life so much. When I go on vacation, I need a vacation away from the vacation. Because I just like being home. Who in here could just get to a point where the greatest place you could be is home? You know what I mean? Like, I love that ACN is able to create that for you. Now, how do you get to that place? Because we all want that type of lifestyle, yes or no? Yes. We want the money to be able to do what we want. We want to be able to buy the home we want. We want to buy the cars that we want. My wife, obviously my family is the most important people in the world to me. Like Andy Andrews says, I love what he says. He says, look, I love you, but I love my family more. And you love your family more, yes or no? Yeah. Listen, you love me, but if you don't love your family more than me, you're weird. Yes or no? Yeah. It's just a reality, right? So to be able to go out and, purchase a vehicle, and not purchase a vehicle that you can afford, but purchase the vehicle that's, the biggest and the most safe for your family. Who in here would like to be able to do something like that? You know what I mean? And just live where you want to live and buy the house that you want to buy and not the house you want to afford. See that? You can do that all through ACN. So tonight, I'm going to teach you how to go get that. Isn't that why you're here? Yes. Now, I need some permission to be a little bit hard on you.
You got it. Yes.
Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Are you really sure?
Yes.
Okay. Here's what I've come to realize about people. Most people are not good for the word.
Nope.
Most people are lazy.
Yep.
Most people make a ton of excuses. And the reason most people don't see their excuses as excuses is because they misname them as reasons. See, whatever reason that you have in your mind why ACN is not working for you, that's actually an excuse. But see, you just misname it and call it a reason. That was the first step on your toe. How'd that feel? Was that all right? Yeah. Right? So what are some of these reasons people give? Right? Health reasons, financial reasons, single mom, single dad, parents sick, this, that, who in here knows that we all go through stuff? Okay? I mean, let me tell you my life right now, right? So my son has a broken arm. He's in a cast. My daughter, last week, we found out, or about 8 days ago now, we found out that she had head lice. If you've ever had a kid with head lice, is that the most crazy thing ever, yes or no?
Yep.
Right, so we think she picked it up at Children's Hospital in DC, right? So we had, my wife, it took like 4 hours, like 4 different treatments. It was crazy, okay? So it was just bad, right? And then 2 days ago, my youngest daughter, right, she has a fever. They don't know what's wrong with her. Just this morning, my wife had to take her to the doctor, and she's 6 months old. They thought she had a UTI, so they had to do a catheter on her, 5 months old. Like, why do I tell you all this stuff? Because we all have problems, yes or no? Yeah. See, it's easy to look at an SVP and be like, well, man, they just made it to the top because they don't have any problems. If they knew all the problems that I had, I'll never forget, someone just asked me a couple weeks ago, as we were coming back, I took a group to headquarters to meet Mr. Provenzano, and at this headquarters, we took vans down, right? So I'm a believer in leading by example, not asking your team to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. So we rented vans. I paid for the vans for the whole team to go down, and I drove one of them, okay? So the night before, I had 1 hour sleep, and then I woke up. We left at 1 a.m., drove straight there, 8 hours, okay? I drove straight there, 8 hours. We did the day with Mr. Provenzano, and then I drove back 8 hours. So I drove 16 hours in one day, drove the team down there and back, 1 hour sleep, and then when I got back in town, I had a conference call at 10 o'clock with my group, okay? So here I am trying to put gasoline in this van, and the reason I'm telling you this story is because we had to have the vans back by 11 because that's when the airport closed. And if we didn't have the vans back by 11, they were going to charge us a full other day for the 6 vans that we rented. Does that make sense? So like even as an SVP, we make good money, but who in here knows you're trying to save $1,500? Right? So I'm on this conference call, right? And I'm driving to put gas in the van. Cop pulls behind me, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I can't be on this phone. So I'm on speakerphone. Then drop the phone under the seat, right? So I have all these guests and all these people. So I have this IBO in the back seat, and they're trying to get the phone. Now, granted, this is after driving 16 hours and only sleeping 1 hour the night before, right? So I'm trying to get the phone from under the seat. He gets it. I pull up to the gas pump. I'm still doing this live presentation call, okay? I put my card, while this is happening, I pull up to the gas station. I put my credit card in. my credit card does not work for whatever reason, okay? So I have to get the IBO to go in the store to pay, and I'm doing all this while I'm doing a live presentation call. So, the second thing I want to talk about is we offer services, we offer wireless service, we offer cell phone service, as I'm pumping the gas with all these guests on the call, right? So then we get, right, that's done, and then we rush to the airport and drop off and the IBOs that they're watching this going on, and they're amazed. They're like, I can't believe what I'm witnessing. See, to me, doing stuff like that is normal. Because if you're not crazy, you're not going to make crazy money. Guess what 99.9% of people would have done in some situation like that? Listen, this conference call is postponed. We will have this tomorrow. Yes or no? But see, a real leader never postpones anything. You never cancel anything. If you say you're going to do something, guess what you do? You do it. Don't have any sleep? Who cares? Now, let me talk about this, okay? Who's ever heard people say, well, I want to work hard, I just don't have any energy? Yeah. Right? You know why you don't have any energy? You don't exercise. You know why you don't exercise? Because you're lazy. Lazy people don't get rich. Nope. Is this hurting yet?
That's the truth.
See, let me say something. Before you go pique someone's interest, don't you have to have the energy to be able to go do it? Yes. So I believe in keeping yourself in shape. I believe in eating right. You hear people say, well, if I had some energy, I'd exercise. No, it's actually the other way around. You have no energy because you don't exercise, right? I was doing a conference call one time, my son, okay, I do a customer acquisition training call on Tuesday nights at 10 o'clock, right? So my son is 3 years old. My wife's given him a bath, and he's in the bathtub, and he stands up in the bathtub, and he slips, and he comes down and hits his chin off the bathtub and bites completely through his tongue. I mean, not like bite his tongue. I mean, like teeth went all the way through it. And this was at 9:56 that this happened. So I run upstairs, and at the home we were living at that time, it had an all-white towel bathroom. Okay? So I walk up, and blood is just everywhere. Now, my first thought is, I have a conference call in 4 minutes. You understand? I was like, I got a call in 4 minutes, right? So my wife's like, we have to go to the emergency room, needs stitches. He sticks his tongue out. I'm like, yeah, definitely. So we throw my son in the back of my wife's Escalade at the time, and I'm driving to the emergency room, and my wife has her hand over his mouth so the screams can't be heard over the conference call, and I'm saying, welcome to tonight's conference call, everyone. We'll be getting started here in about 2 minutes. If you could please just check in with name, city, and state. Now, you might be thinking, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Well, I just told you. If you want to make crazy money, you have to be crazy. See, you have to be willing to do things that most people would just never be willing to do. You sign up an IBO that lives 8 hours away. Guess what most people do? Well, hey, welcome to the team. Let me see if I can find someone that lives in your area, and we'll get a meeting set up. Get your lazy behind in the car and go do them a PBR. You recruited them, yes or no? So if you recruit them, guess what you need to go do? You need to go do a PBR. Just this past week, I was in West Virginia doing a meeting. 6 hours there, 6 hours back. Guess how many people signed up? 0. And I did that as an SVP. And you're thinking, well, why would you still do that? Because my goal is not SVP. My goal is 6 legs of SVP. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes. See, that's my goal. See, my goal is not SVP. My goal is 6 legs of SVP. How much money is available in ACN?
Unlimited. Unlimited.
But is your work ethic unlimited? See, the money's unlimited, but is your work ethic unlimited? That's really the question that we all need to ask ourselves, okay? So I just believe in telling it like it is. Is this okay for everyone?
Yeah.
Like, is this a little bit too hard? Is everyone okay? Okay.
It's real.
So when I came up in ACN, here was my life, right? That's first 18 months in the business. First 18 months. When I hit ETT, I quit my job because I made a bonus. Don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. Oh, fast start bonus, right? Isn't that the way new IBOs act? They don't really understand a compensation plan. They get in, they hit a bonus, they're so excited, right? So I'm 22 years old, I quit my job. Now, the next month, when there wasn't a fast start bonus, because I already made it, and I didn't make another $1,500 my second month in the business, it was kind of like, man, I need a job, right? So I had to crawl back to my job, apologize, listen, I made a harsh decision, you know, I want the job back, could you please give it back? Praise be to God, they gave it back, right? So I worked that job, and I was there for probably about 6 months or so, and then I just got tired of the drive back and forth. So I put in my 2-week notice, and I went back to, I was doing personal training on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Now, the reason I'm telling you these stories is because I would work all day, okay? And then in the evenings, guess what I did? PBRs, okay? Guess how many nights a week I did PBRs?
7.
6 nights a week, okay? So since I've been in ETT, I do PBRs 6 nights a week. Here's why I work 6 days a week, okay? Because I follow God's plan. I work 6 days and I rest 1 day. Now, if you're smarter than God, work 7. Or how about, I need some rest, yes or no?
Yes.
Who in here needs some rest?
Yes.
Here's what the world does, work 5 and rest 2. God says work 6 and rest 1. I'm going to listen to him. It's just me. You don't have to do that. That's what I did, right? So those 6 days that I worked, let me tell you something. I worked. And when I mean I worked, I mean for that 18 months, I probably averaged maybe 4 hours of sleep per night. And I would be at work, and I would be so tired from being on the road doing PBRs that I would take a nap during my lunch break and not even eat. Because I just needed sleep. See, everyone wants to get rich, but they don't want to do the work. Listen, if getting rich was easy, guess what would happen? Everyone would be rich. When you sign up that IBO that lives 3 hours away, because you don't get in your car and go do the PBR and you try to do some conference call type presentation, because the reality is you just don't want to drive 3 hours each way to go do the presentation, that's why you fail. Because you're trying to expect a lot by not doing a lot. Right? If you want a lot, what do you have to do? You have to do a lot. You have to work a lot. Now, I know this isn't the kind of teaching that most people like to hear. See, this training here tonight, here's really what's going to happen at this training. About 10 of you will get so excited on how real I was and go and hit SVP, and the rest of you will get so discouraged that you have to work this hard and probably just won't do it anyways. Right? See, what we do in ACN is we talk to the masses so we can find the few that really want to put in the work to go get free. Who in here is willing to put in the work to go get free?
Oh, yes.
If you're willing to put in the work, let me tell you something, the freedom is so amazing. So that first 18 months, I would work all day, and then I would literally felt like I worked all night doing PBRs. Because wherever someone signed up in the business, I was there. If they joined and they lived 5 hours away, I was there doing a meeting. I get home at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. There would be some mornings where I would get home, the sun would be coming up, not sun a lot, where the sun would be coming up, and I would coast in my driveway and wake up in my driveway. And think like, how did I even get here? Like what just happened? Okay? Now some of you have that story, but it's because you were out at the club. And you drove home and you didn't remember how you got there. Oh man, I got home, but I don't know how. We'll come the next morning, right? So, because when I tell people my 18th month in the business, the first month I hit TC, I did 56 team trainers. They always ask, well, how did you do that? How in the world did you have 56 new people join your team your first month as a TC? It's because when I was new in the business as an ETT, I did 6 PBRs, or 6 nights a week. I did 2 PBRs a day. So I was doing a minimum of 12 presentations a week that I was presenting at. Now you might be thinking, well man, I'd love to do prep 12 presentations a week, but I can't get my team to do nothing. Who's with me? Right? You try to schedule a meeting, they don't want to do anything. You try to schedule a presentation, and they don't want to do that. Well, let's be real for a second. Have you ever thought maybe they don't want to schedule a presentation with you? Maybe you're not good. Maybe they feel like you can't sign their guest up, so they don't want you to do a presentation for them. Isn't it amazing how when someone doesn't want to do something, we always blame them instead of looking at ourselves in the mirror and say, what can I do to make me better?
True.
Because if I'm blaming my lack of success on anyone else, the chances of me becoming successful are slim to none. See, it's called taking personal responsibility. See, I believe that if I'm going to succeed in ACN, it's based on what I do, not what someone else does. See, Mr. Volanino, Danny Volanino, my mentor when I joined ACN, he said, Cody, look, your paycheck depends on you, and whatever your team does, he said, that's gravy. He said, that's the dessert. He said, the full course meal is you. The full course meal is your schedule. The full course meal is your calendar. It's how many meetings that you're doing. So how does this happen? How do you get your team to want to do presentations? Well, what I've learned over the years is that when you sign someone up in ACN, okay, you have to ask that new IBO this question, okay? And this is so important. Hopefully everyone's writing this down or recording this. When you sign up a new IBO, here's the question. Hey, welcome to the team. Glad to have you on board. Hey, so let me ask you something. Do I have your permission to coach you or help you in this business? Okay? If you don't ask the new IBO permission to coach them and help them, they're probably not going to listen to anything that you say. And here's why. Think about it. You're an adult, they're an adult. You sign them up and you start ordering them, telling them what to do, and then they don't do it, and then you're mad at them and you call them uncoachable. Yes or yes? Yes. Think about it. It's because we never even asked them permission to be their coach. In ACN, here's what we're building. We're building a volunteer army. That's what we're doing. People can join, people can leave, people can get in and become massively successful, right? It's up to them. So every new IBO that I sign up that I'm working with, hey, welcome to the team, brother.
Thank you very much.
Hey, so glad to have you on board. So let me ask you something. Before we get started here, do I have your permission to give you some coaching and mentorship just to help you what I've learned so far in ACN?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Now, so I know how to properly coach you. Do you want to walk? Do you want to run? Or do you want to sprint? How do you want to build ACN?
I want to sprint.
You want to sprint? Now, someone tell me why you think I would ask him that question.
See how you
Shoot or shoot.
To see how I'm going to coach him, right? Because if you overcoach someone, you'll coach them right out of the business. See, the people that don't pick up your phone calls, you know why they don't pick up your phone calls? Because they feel like you are pestering them. See, you're overcoaching them. You're pushing them too hard. See, Jim Rohn says, let your 20s do 20, let your 40s do 40, let your 60s do 60, let your 80s do 80, and go find the hundreds. So Jim Rohn teaches, don't try to get people to do more than they're willing to do. Meet them where they're at, and then lead by example to inspire them to where it is you want them to go. See, you cannot motivate someone. This is the mistake that we have, okay, in our own minds. We feel like we can motivate people. You cannot motivate someone. Here's all you can do. You can inspire someone to choose to get motivated. And you know how you inspire people? Through your personal example. Think of when we get motivated. The most motivated times in our life is when we are inspired by an external force. Yes or no? Right? You get around someone, you go to a training, you go to an international. Why do we get so motivated when we go to international? Because we are so inspired by what we see. Yes or no? Yeah. Right? We're there, we're like, man, this is amazing, this is incredible. And we're so jacked up and we're so excited because we're so inspired. Right? So if I just try to motivate him, really what I'm doing is I'm now being his boss and telling him what to do. See, people do not get involved in ACN to get a boss. They get involved in ACN to get away from bosses. So I'm asking him, do you want to walk, do you want to run, or do you want to sprint? Now, the next thing I'm about to coach, if you implement this in your business, your production numbers will go through the roof. Who in here is trying to have their production numbers go through the roof, okay? And here's how your production numbers will go through the roof. Because I'm going to teach you how to get PBRs scheduled. Because that seems like one of the biggest hurdles we have with new people, right? Someone signs up, okay, let's get your PBR scheduled. Nah, not right now, I'm good. I'll just bring them to the meeting, right? Then that doesn't really work out, okay? So here's what I do. I'm going to make him feel like he's in control, but really I'm the one in control. He just doesn't know. Everyone got it?
Yeah.
Watch what I do, okay? Now, say that you want to walk, right? And be like, oh, I got a lot going on, I just want to walk, right? I know you've never signed up anyone like that before, right? Okay. So, hey, welcome to the team. Hey, glad to have you on board. So let me ask you a question. Do I have your permission to give you some coaching and just help you with some things that I've learned so far in ACN? Okay, fantastic. Okay, first question. Because I don't want to overcoach you and I don't want to undercoach you. Everyone does ACN for different reasons. Now, in building this business, do you want to walk, do you want to run, or do you want to sprint? How do you want to build this?
Oh man, I'm really busy. I got a lot going on. I'm gonna say I want to walk.
Okay. Because you just want to walk, here's all we're going to do, okay? First of all, we're not going to run around and get customers. We're not going to go door to door knocking doors. We're not going to, drive to Michigan and talk to your family. We're not going to sit down and have hours of training. Here's all we're going to do. We're going to schedule 2 meetings, and all you're going to do is invite, and I'm going to come explain. That's all we'll do.
Yep.
All got it?
Well, you'll get them qualified, right?
Okay? Now, when I sign someone up, the first thing that I do before I get them qualified is I get the meeting set up. Always get the meetings set up first. Here's why. When I sign him up, this is network marketing. Yes or no?
Yes.
Network marketing means we're building networks. So when I sign him up, I'm not signing him up to train him. I'm signing him up to get to his network of people before he quits.
Yes.
See, when someone signs up in my business, that's my whole focus. It is a race between me and him to get to his contact base before he stops answering my phone calls. See, that's how you create momentum. That's how you build depth. That's how you build a team, okay? So the first thing that I do is set up the what? Meetings, okay? So watch how I set up these meetings, okay? So we're just going to schedule 2 presentations. You invite, I'll come explain. That's all we're going to do, okay? And to make it even very convenient for you, we won't even rent out a hotel or anything like that. We'll even have it at your home, okay? So if you want to pull out your calendar here, the first date I have available where I can come speak to a small group of people, okay? And don't worry the size. We'll have as many meetings as it takes, okay? I can do this Tuesday at 6:30, or I can do this Thursday at 8:30. What works better for you?
Looks like Thursday would be better.
Thursday 8:30, okay? So go ahead and put that in your calendar. We'll do Tuesday 8:30. And let's go ahead and get a fallback meeting set up. That way when you're inviting, if they can't come to that first meeting, since you already have them on the phone, you can just invite them to the second one, okay? So I have this Saturday at 2, or I could do this Monday at 6:30. What works better for you?
I'll take Monday at 6.
Monday 6:30? Okay, perfect. Now, here's what we want to do. I just want to give you some coaching on how to invite people to a presentation, okay? So now I go into teaching him how to invite. See, this is the launch. I'm teaching him how to invite people to the meeting. Once I teach him how to invite people to the meeting, here's the next thing I do. We make phone calls together right then and there, and he invites people to his first meeting at the meeting. Has everyone got this so far?
Yes.
Once he has some people committed to come to the presentation, here's what I say now. right? So let's say we've been sitting there 30 minutes, we're making some phone calls, we have 10 people, let's say, committed to come to the presentation. Listen, man, we got 10 people coming already to the presentation. That's awesome. What we want to work on now is just signing up your personal services. That way, when you stand in front of your guest, your presentation this Thursday, you're actually on the services. Because can you imagine having them come and you're not even your own customer? Right? This is called dangling the carrot. So I get him to get his own services right then and there because he already has people coming to his home to his presentation. See, the mistake that people make is, hey, welcome to the team. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get you qualified. Now, what's the first question they ask? What does that mean? What's that mean? Now, when someone gets qualified, what does he make? Doesn't make anything, right? So why would I say let's get you qualified? Because he doesn't make any money. Now, he got involved in ACN to make money, yes or no? Yes. So this month, the Fast Start bonus is, right, you get 2 business partners, 7 customer points. He gets 7 customer points, right? He makes $500. See, I'm not even going to go over that Fast Start bonus until after we make calls. Here's why. You will set up a small home meeting if you talk about 2 people getting in only. Because if I say, welcome to the team, here's the Fast Start bonus, 2 business partners, 7 customers apiece, you get 7 customers, your ETT, you make $500, because in his mind, that means now he has to invite how many people? 2 people. But if I just say, listen, let's go ahead and just make some phone calls, and here's what I tell the new person, we're going to invite everyone that you know that you think will do the business and you think won't do the business. Because people that you think will, they'll become your partner. And people you think won't, right, we can get them as your customer. Now here's what people ask me. Well, what happens if they don't want to make phone calls? See, if they don't want to make phone calls, I don't push them into doing it. You know why I don't push them into doing it? Because then he won't like me. And your team will not work with you if they don't like you. You ever notice how you only want to work with people you like? Here's what Aaron Burke taught me many years ago. He said, never argue with someone that makes you money. Think of how true that is. That's why in business you hear business owners say the customer is always right. Because if that customer doesn't like you, they're not going to bring their business there. Well, see, your downline independent business owners are really like a customer, yes or no? Because your downline is what makes you successful in the business. The bigger downline you have, the more successful you become. So if he signed up in the business and we have those 2 meetings scheduled, I feel like I'm doing something great, yes or no? Yeah. So if I sit down, he says, well, nah, man, I just don't want to, I just don't want to make some phone calls yet. I'm just not comfortable doing that. I'm not going to say, listen, if you want to make money, we got to do this right now. Because now he's not going to like me. He's not going to want to answer my phone calls. So at that point, here's what I would do. I would work on services. See, this is what I mean by allowing your 20s to be 20s, your 40s to be 40s, your 60s to be 60s, your 80s to be 80s, and go find the hundreds. See, that's the system that we teach. Now, from my experience, that will only work like that from about 30% of the people that you sign up. So 7 out of 10 people you sign up are not going to want to make phone calls with you. But the 3 out of 10 that do make phone calls with you, you will get much better results at the home presentation. Because here's a fact in our business. If you don't listen to that new IBO make phone calls, whatever you teach them to do, they're actually not saying that.
You're right.
Right?
Yes.
Just like you and I. When you and I received coaching in ACN, did you do it right or did you do it wrong?
Wrong.
You did it wrong, right? You did it wrong. Right? Because we feel like we want to do it our own way, and we just feel like we know our people, and we just want to talk to them a certain way, right? So here's something that I've lived by in ACN. Give, and I shall what? Receive. Okay, that's what the law says. Give, and I shall receive. Now the law does not say give, and you'll receive it from where you gave it. See, that's what people want it to say. Man, I worked with you for like 3 hours and you quit? Man, I can't believe this. This is unbelievable. I went and sat with you and drove all the way across town and missed my daughter's dance recital, and then you don't answer my phone calls anymore. Have you ever been through that?
Oh,
Yeah, me too, about 1,000 times. Right? Well, Cody, you didn't get upset about it? Nope. You know why I didn't get upset about it? Because when you get upset about something, here's what happens. You get offended. And when you get offended, you lose your peace. And when you lose your peace, you lose your focus. And when you lose your focus, you lose all ability to succeed at a high level. See, there's no man or woman alive powerful enough to take my focus.
Amen.
It doesn't matter what you say to me. It doesn't matter what you do. Cody Mackey, I hate you. Okay. It doesn't matter to me. And the reason it doesn't matter is because I understand that truth. Now, you might say, well, you know, I don't know about that. These feelings are real strong that I have with these quitters. Yes or no? Right? You sign someone up and you go meet with them at their house and you're sitting there with hours, and then they, oh man, I'm so excited for Saturday training. Then they don't even show up to Saturday training. Yes or yes?
Yes.
And then their PBR's on Tuesday, and you're calling them over and over again. They're not answering the phone.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden in the back office, their position goes red. Which means they got their money back. You ever been there? And if you haven't, just get ready. See, I would rather teach you what's going to happen instead of get you so, listen, I could come in here and just get you so excited and so motivated that you would leave here bouncing off the walls, but then as soon as this stuff starts happening to you, then you get so discouraged that you want to quit because you feel like it's only happening to you. I have a good friend that's a Marine, and he said that he had an uncle that was a Marine, and he said his uncle told him, any Marines here? Anyone? How about?
Right here.
Feel it.
Awesome, awesome. Give him a round of applause. Fantastic. So he said his uncle told him, right, before they came and picked him up at his house. So I guess they pick you up at your house or whatever, and then they take you. Is that the way it works?
No.
Okay, well, whatever. So wherever he got picked up at, he said his uncle told him, listen, when you were put on that bus, he said, when they come pick you up, he said, your family's going to be there. He said, I want to let you know that they're going to be so nice to you, and they're going to be so polite to you. He said, but as soon as that bus gets to your base and that training starts, he said, as soon as that door opens, he said, you are going to enter in a whole different world. Is that true?
Not exactly.
Okay. Maybe he made up the whole story. But what he was trying to tell me was because his uncle was preparing him for what was going to happen, he said when it happened to him, he said it wasn't that big of a deal because he already had an uncle that was a Marine and told him what was going to happen. He said everyone else that was on the bus or whatever they were on, he said when they started doing basic training or doing what they do, he said like the fear of death was like in these people's faces because they weren't expecting this type of stuff. See, when you sign up for the military, you just can't quit. Yes or no? Right? If you sign up, how long do you have to stay in? What have you signed up for? Right? Now, what if you show up one day and you say, I don't feel like coming back tomorrow? What do they say?
They'll bring you to the brig real quick.
They'll bring you to the brig real quick, right? And if you say, I refuse to go, then what do?
They force you.
How do they force? I want you to learn this, right? What would they do? What if you said, I'm not going to train?
Have you ever said that?
Real quick.
Okay, say that louder.
They'd handcuff you real quick.
They handcuff you.
And carry you. They will carry you.
See, when you sign up for the military, guess what you're going to do? What you signed up to do. What if we just took that same mentality to our ACN business? You be Son, of you be like, man, I didn't handcuff myself. I need handcuffs right now. Because if you look at the military, right? To get a fighting force that's the best in the world, you have to do that. Yes or no? You're teaching and training them, you better be good for your word. And if there's not, there's repercussions for you not being good for your word. This is why we tell new people when they sign up in ACN. You cannot act like this was only $499 for you to sign up. Because if you act like this was only $499 for you to sign up, you're going to treat it like a $499 opportunity. And when you treat it like a $499 opportunity, guess what you make? $499. Who in here wants to make way more than $499? What if you traded your ACN business as serious as you treat your job? Why is it that people sacrifice more for someone else than they do for themselves? Oh, I can't make Saturday training this week. My niece is getting married. Well, didn't you just miss your cousin's wedding last year because you had to go to work? And I know this might be a little touchy subject, but if you had to miss a wedding to go to work, who's ever had to miss a wedding because you had to work? A lot of us. Who's ever had to miss a birthday party because you had to work? Who's ever had to maybe miss a dance recital or a baseball game or a basketball game because you had to work? Now, did you want to miss that stuff? No. See, but what you said is you said, listen, I would love to be there, but I can't because I have to work. Here's what so many ACN IBOs do. Listen, I'd go to Cleveland, but I got something going on that weekend. Well, I'd go to that regional, but I have something going on. I got something going on that weekend. Who in here really wants to win big in ACN? I mean win big, okay? Listen, if you don't want to win big in ACN, forget everything that I'm saying. You don't have to do everything that I'm saying. If you just want to do this and get 60 customer points, make 10% residual income, supplement your income, don't worry about everything that I'm doing. But when I train, I like to train people how to go to the top. Because if I train you how to go to the top, even if you don't make it to all the way to the top and you go RD, you're still pretty excited, yes or no?
Yeah.
If I train you how to go SVP, even if you go RVP, you're still pretty excited, yes or no?
Yeah.
But if I'm just trying to say, well, listen, you don't have to work every day, and you don't have to do PBRs, and everyone that you talk to is going to sign up, you know, that's just, what we're doing is we're lowering the bar. And when you lower the bar, you lose the winners, right? So we don't want to lower the bar. We want to raise the bar and teach really what it takes. So is this okay so far?
Yes.
All right. So let me move on and get off that topic. I want to talk about now when someone signs up in the business, how to actually get them to do something to get results at the PBR. Because who in here is sick and tired of not getting results at PBRs? Right? You go to a meeting, there's even people there, and you present it to them and they don't sign up. And you're thinking, are you an idiot? Now you don't say that, but who's ever thought that? You're thinking like, were you not at the same meeting that I just was at? I just did a meeting last night, presentation last night this afternoon. A guest was there before the meeting started, was asking all these questions. So I said, well listen, you can go to the App Store, okay? ACN Compass, download the app, a lot of information there. You can be reading it over while we're waiting for other guests to come. He said, nah man, I ain't doing that. He said, I gotta do some research on this first. He said, you just can't be putting anything on your phone. I had someone tell me that just last night at a meeting. See, the silliness never stops. Even when you're an SVP, guess what? Are people silly up here in New Jersey?
Yeah.
You ever hear crazy stuff like that? Okay. So, all right, everyone feeling okay so far?
Yeah.
So when you sign up a new IBO, and you want them to actually get results at the PBR, there's certain things that you have to do leading into that PBR, okay? Here's one thing you must do, is you must stay in contact with them each day. Now, I don't mean calling them every day. I don't mean calling them multiple times a day. but a simple text message, a simple email, some type of constant communication. Because that new IBO, they're like a newborn baby. You know, you might be 35 and you sign up someone that's 65. That 65-year-old is a newborn baby in ACN. And that newborn baby, they cannot survive in ACN by themselves. True or false?
Yep.
Right? So what I like the new IBO to understand, when I'm sitting with them, listen, welcome to the team. Okay, your meeting's coming up here on Thursday. Every single day you're going to have questions. Every single day something's going to pop into your head. We're going to stay in contact, constant communication. If you have a question about anything, shoot me a text, call me. Please don't feel like you're bothering me. I'm here to help, okay? So I just want him to understand that I'm here to help, that he's not bothering me, okay? That if he has questions, I want to answer those questions. So stay in constant communication with the new IBO. Now, 3 days before his presentation, we do something called a 72-hour call, okay? Now, the 72-hour call is designed to prepare him for his presentation, okay? The reason we do this 3 days before is because if you try to do something day of, where's your stress level? It's really high, yes or no, right? So if it's the day of his PBR and I'm trying to teach him where to get the paperwork and where to get the IBO agreements and have this and have this, he's losing his mind, right? Yes. So 3 days before the presentation, I give him a call, okay? And here's the first question I ask, okay? How's the inviting going for Thursday?
Going great.
Going great? How many people do you have committed so far?
Got 2 people coming.
Now here's what we do. Praise progress. See, whatever they do, what do? Praise progress, okay? So how's the inviting coming so far?
It's going great. I got 2 people coming.
You got 2 people already?
Yep.
Man, you're killing it, brother. Are you serious?
2 whole people, yep.
That's awesome. You praise whatever they're doing. See, if you praise people, they'll work more. If you beat up people, they don't work. Remember, this is a volunteer army. You need to praise people. See, if you look at a young child, okay, let's say your son, daughter, niece, nephew, grandchild, if they draw a picture and they bring it to you, and you cannot understand what that picture is, what do you say? That is incredible. That looks amazing. Because it encourages them to do what? Draw some more. See, we wonder why we can't build a big team. See, if you call the IBO, because here's what we're thinking. Man, first of all, your house is an hour away. I got to go over, what is it, the Verrazano Bridge. What's that toll? You're like, okay, well, I got to pay gas, tolls. You got 2 people. I'm like, are you serious? And in this order, yes or no?
Yeah.
Remember, give and you shall receive. So how many people you got coming so far?
Yeah, 2 people coming.
What? That's awesome, man. And we still have 3 days to the meeting. Great job. Really, good job.
Thank you.
Fantastic. See, I want him to feel good. Because if he feels good, he'll do more. Remember, never get in an argument with someone that what? Makes you money. Encourage, 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 encourage. See, when you're talking to someone individually, you always have to praise progress. Never, listen, never one time in my, and again, everyone teaches differently. So if your upline teaches differently, that's not putting down what they do. This is just how I teach. Is that okay?
Yes.
I've never, one time in my entire ACN career, corrected someone personally. Ever. Never once. I do it publicly. I wait till they come to a Saturday training. And then I teach on something. They're there like, is he talking about me? Because if I correct individually, now I've created a wedge in our relationship. Yes or no?
Yes.
Listen, he's not my employee. He's not my son. He's not my coworker, right? George Zalicki, here's what Zalicki says. If you want to be a king or a queen in this business, you first have to become a servant. And until you become a servant, you will never be a king or queen in ACN. It's just not possible. Okay? So whatever he does, I'm praising progress. Here's the next question. Okay? Now those two people you have coming, what do they do for a living?
One works on cars with me.
Okay.
And the other one is a nurse.
Awesome. Fantastic. Fantastic. So great professions, people that are coming. Remember, continue to invite people. And what's normal is about half the people that say they're coming will not show up. So that's just normal. Okay? So don't get discouraged if people don't show up, because, you know, things happen, things come up in life, so just don't get upset about that, okay? So those two people that you have coming, just let them know to expect a call from my office. I'll have my assistant reach out to them the day before, just to let them know that I'm excited to come meet them, okay? And continue to invite. I'll follow up with you tomorrow. I'll get the additional contacts, and if you could just put a list together, and on that list put their name, their occupation, their phone number, and their relationship to you. The more you can tell me about who's coming, the better chance we have getting them as your partner. That make sense? So like if they don't like their job, put that in the notes. If they have to travel a lot, put that in the notes. If they have kids and they're worried about buying formula, put that in the notes, okay? I cannot tell you how many times over the years I've been doing a presentation and I've received a list where someone has put in the list, John's coming to the meeting, and John hates that he has to drive to work 2.5 hours each way. So here's what I'll say now in the presentation. Well, listen, you know, thank you everyone for coming out. You know, we all take a look at ACN for different reasons. You know, some of you here just because you hate the drive to work. And John's sitting there like, listen, why do you think when you're on Facebook, you see all the ads popping up of everything that you've looked at online? Because if you know your prospect, you can sell to your prospect. If you don't know your prospect, you're not going to sell anything to them. See, most of you are going into presentations completely blind. You don't even know who these people are. You don't even know what they like, what they dislike. You don't know what motivates them or does not motivate them. See, the better you know the person that you're talking to, okay, the better chance you have of getting them in the business, because now you become more relatable to them. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say, men, you're going out with someone on a date, right? Picking up a female on a date, and you find out that the girl that you're picking up, your coworker is her best friend. Now, this is the first time you're ever going out on a date with this lady, so what do you start asking the coworker? What's she like? Yes or no? Tell me about her. Now, why do you want to know some stuff about her? So you can relate. You understand what I'm saying? You need to be able to relate with the person that you're talking to, okay? It's called creating conversation, okay? So this is what I'm doing, 72-hour call. You know, put as much as you can on that list as possible so I know who these people are, and then I stay in contact up until the day of the presentation. Now, the night before the presentation, I'll pull the report, okay? Let's say he has 2 services, and he's 1 service away from being qualified. So I'll give him a call. Here's the way it goes. Ring, ring.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man, just so fired up about your event tomorrow. Just received the additional 2 names you have, so you have 4 people coming so far?
Yeah.
Awesome. Listen, I'm just jacked up to promote you tomorrow in front of your guest to the first position at QTT. You know, they're going to see that this is already working for you, and because it's already working for you, they're just going to be so excited. So actually, I'll bring your certificate tomorrow for you achieving QTT, okay?
Oh,
And you have done that, right?
You know, I think I'm one service short.
Okay. All right. Now, did you did you order home security yet?
No, I was still thinking about it.
Okay, well go do that. That way I can bring your certificate tomorrow. Okay? Because if your guests see that it's working for you, it's going to make them want to do it even more. Okay?
Alright, you know, I don't know if I really need a security system.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But you
I
need to be
go
rich,
up,
right? You need to make money, right?
Yeah, that is a good point.
You know, can't create wealth clipping coupons, right? Okay, exactly. Is this making sense to everyone? Right? Because here's what I've learned. If I can get that new IBO, QTT, before their first PBR, we sign up a lot of people. Because the guests are already seeing that that new person is already advancing. You ever done a presentation and the IBO has signed up 0 services?
Yes.
How's that usually go? The guests are asking, like, well, how many customers did you get so far? Nothing. How long you been in? 10 days. Now, to the new person, they think like this is automatically like hard. Like, well, why should I do this? It seems like it's really hard to do, okay? So again, in a perfect world, he'll do that, and you just need to learn how to maybe push or not push, right? Be a little bit, you know, authoritative, I guess you could say, or maybe that's not the right word because you don't want to be an authoritative type person in business, but you just need to learn the people skills, not to push him out of the business, but you want him to get to do something. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, day of the presentation, I show up. Now, if the presentation's at 6:30, what time do you think you should be there?
5, 6.
Right? What I like to do is about a half hour before, okay? The reason I like to show up a half hour before is because, think about it, if you have a dinner party at your house, or you're having people at your house, if it starts at 7, when that person shows up at 5 in your driveway, and you're still running around, sweeping the floor, and doing all this stuff, what do you think about that person that shows up 2 hours early? Yeah, what's your problem, man? Like, this is like, well, I ain't ready. I just got out of the shower. Like, what's your problem? Isn't that how you think? Yes or no? So I would not show up super early unless you told them you're showing up super early. Now, if you say, well, listen, I'll be there 2 hours before, you know, again, I've never done that. I've never showed up that early. I show up 30 minutes to 45 minutes before the presentation. Again, there's not right or wrong. This is effective or ineffective, okay? Now, when I walk in to that presentation, I've already coached him where to go find all the documents. I've already coached him how to print out the 1 through 8 presentation sheet. I've coached him how to print out the IBO agreement, 1 page, front and back. I've coached him how to get a VIP training flyer to promote the local Saturday training. I've coached him to go get clipboards and pens for his guests. I've coached him how to do this stuff. Now, even though I've coached him how to go do that and how to print it out, I've learned from experience that most people will not have anything. Yep. Who's ever been there? Yes. Right? Or the night before, okay, these are the documents you need. You know, you want some clipboards, you want some pens, you go over the setup of the meeting, you get to the presentation, they hand you the packet of information, and halfway through the print job, their ink ran out, and you can't tell what it looks like. Right? So what you want to do as the presenter is you want to make sure that you have all the documents yourself, okay? See, it's your business, so you're leading by example. So I'm coaching him on where to go get the documents, but I'm not like over stressing him about it. Does that make sense, right? So it's like, okay, here's where you go, here's what you get, you need the pens, you need the clipboards, but I know just from experience he probably won't have it all, but that's the way he's learning how to print it out. Remember, I'm trying to coach and mentor people to become independent business owners, not dependent business owners. Now, when I walk in that home, first thing that I do is I make sure we have some upbeat music playing. First thing I do. Now, why would you think you want some upbeat music at that presentation?
For atmosphere.
Atmosphere. Think about it. You're going to have all these strangers that really don't probably know each other walking into an environment. And when you walk into a quiet environment, is it exciting or weird?
Weird.
This is super weird, right? You really don't know each other. You're sitting there like looking at each other like, you know why you're here? Why are you here? You know what this is about? Me neither. What's going on, right? So what I like to do, okay, when guests arrive, let's say you're walking in. Hey,
Good
welcome.
job, Chris.
Hey, welcome. Welcome. So glad to have you.
Excited.
Here's a Success from Home magazine.
Thanks
This is what
very
we'll be
much.
talking about tonight. Okay?
All right.
Have a seat.
Thank
We'll
you.
be starting about 10 minutes. See, I like to greet the guests with Success from Home magazine. Now, if you're not utilizing the tools, that just means that you thought $499 was going to get you rich. Not going to happen. You need to use the tools, right? Got to have your tools. Look at it this way. If you open a Subway, anyone own a Subway?
No.
Any franchise owners here? Any restaurants? What franchise do you own, man?
Fitness.
What is it?
Fitness.
Fitness, okay? Well, this would be a good example. So when you purchased that fitness center, did they include the open sign or you had to buy that?
I had to buy everything.
Right? So when you purchased a franchise, they just gave you the name and the system, yes or no? Now, what if she bought her fitness center, she went in there day one, and she's behind the counter, and she's like, man, I'm so excited about all these people coming in, and someone walks by, and they're like looking in the window, and they stick their head in, they're like, are you open? And she's like, yeah, we are. And they're like, well, I didn't see an open sign. And she's like, well, I know, we're brand new in business. We wanted to get some money going first, before we started to, because I just bought the business, and because I just bought the business, we wanted to start making some money. See, this is how people treat their ACN business. They pay $499. They have no tools. See, some of you are sitting here right now, you don't even have SIM cards. There's SIM cards nowhere to be found in your presence. But you're going SVP. You have no SIM cards. You have no Success from Home magazines. But you're going SVP. Who would agree that's a little foolish? Really foolish. I'm not saying go buy 1,000 SIM cards. But we're in the business of wireless service, yes or no?
Yes.
What do you need to sign up a wireless customer? A SIM card. So if you're in, think about this. I know that this is so simple. You're in a business, a wireless business, that you want to work so bad, but you don't even have the stuff to sign anyone up. All right, I'm leaving now. We'll see you later. Do we need to take this a little bit more serious? Yes or no?
Yes.
We do. You can't treat ACN like a $499 opportunity and expect to make millions of dollars. It's not going to happen. In my car right now, I have Success from Home magazines, SIM cards, and I have phones. I have two iPhone 6 64 gig in my car right now. And you're thinking, why in the world do you have those? Because I'm an ACN IBO. What are you talking about? Everywhere I go, I take the stuff with me. Because if you go somewhere and you don't have the stuff with you, and you talk to, you ever been out somewhere and you're like, man, I wish I had something to give this person? And you try to reschedule or make the appointment. No, you have to be ready at all times. See, success is when opportunity meets preparedness. Right? So you're prepared, right? So I'm prepared and I have an opportunity, now I'm successful. See, a lot of people, they have opportunity, but because they're not prepared, now they don't succeed. Okay, so you want to be available or ready at all times. So get to that presentation 30 minutes early, 45 minutes early. I'm setting up the music, making sure the music is ready. We have the Success from Home magazines laid out. We're ready to go as guests are coming in. Okay, Success from Home magazine. And what I like to put up on the screen, put up on the screen, on the TV, is the BBB, the Better Business Bureau A+ rating. So that's just what's on the screen as they're walking in. I don't reference it. I don't say anything about it. We just leave it there like that.
I like that.
So as they're sitting there, they just see Better Business Bureau, ACN, A+ rating. Is that a pretty good idea? All right, so that's the first thing they see when they come in. So I get there early enough, music is set up, guest arrives, Success from Home magazine, we have the Better Business Bureau website pulled up, ACN, A+ rating, we're ready to go, and then here's what I do. I role play with him again how to host at the presentation. See, the presenter is not the most important part of the presentation. The host is the most important part of the presentation. See, if the host bombs, what happens to the PBR? It's a bomb. Tell me how you think this meeting would go. Thanks for coming, everyone. Like, I'm sorry that more weren't able to show up, to the meeting. It's been a really long day at work. And, I've invited you here tonight. I just got an ACN, and, I'm hoping this is going to work. And, we have someone here to present, and, I just met him. Just met him. And, but they're going to come and do the presentation. So thank you all so much for coming. Here's the presenter. Now, if you're a guest, you're going to look at the presenter like you want to kill him the entire time. Yes or no?
Yes.
Because think of who's in that meeting. Mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin, people close to him. So the family's now thinking that you were there to present, to take advantage of the person that signed up because there was no edification. They didn't speak highly of them, right? So when I'm coaching him on how to host a presentation, I'm teaching him to be confident, to be excited, and also that he needs to take his excitement and transfer that to the guest, okay? Now, when teaching how to edify, we do this at the 3-day mark, okay? So I'm going to role play this because the only way you can really teach this is by role playing it, okay? So, what are your 2 names?
Vicky?
Vicky and
Phil.
Phil. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Vicky is the upline. So Vicky, let's say, is my upline team coordinator. Phil is the brand new IBO. Has everyone got it?
Yeah.
Vicky's the upline, my upline team coordinator. Phil is the brand new IBO. I'm an ETL. I'm the one that's going to do the presentation. So 3 days before the presentation, I give Phil a call, okay? And here's what I say to Phil. Hey, Phil, listen, I go through how's the inviting going. I praise the progress. I go through what documents Phil needs at his presentation. And then here's what I say to Phil. Phil, have you had a chance to meet our team coordinator yet, Vicky? Have you had a chance to meet her?
Well, sort of.
Okay, sort of, okay. Well, listen, she's like one of the top people in the company, especially in this area. She's literally like the Oprah Winfrey of ACN. Like, she's done incredible things with this opportunity. And she saw your name on the report. She just wants to welcome you to the team and just give you some coaching for your presentation. Give me 1 second. I'm going to 3-way her in. So now what I do is I 3-way in my upline, Vicky, to talk to Phil. And here's what Vicky does. Vicky teaches Phil how to edify me at the presentation because I'm the presenter. Has everyone got it?
Yeah.
Yep.
See, if I try to teach Phil how to edify me, that is weird. Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, Phil, when you introduce me to this PBR, tell him I make a lot of money. You got it? You also want to tell him that I have a passion to help people become successful, and my heart's like a heart of gold. You got it? Okay. What you can also say is that you trust me. Got that? Write that down so you remember. See, it's just so weird. So you can't teach the person that's the host how to edify you. But if you don't have edification as the host, are you going to have trouble signing people up in the business? Right? Because people only listen to people they respect. If there's no respect, they're not going to listen. So Vicky teaches Phil how to edify me. Okay? So when I go into that presentation on Thursday, that conversation's already been had, right? So I get up there, right, before the presentation starts, right, guests are starting to arrive, and I'm teaching the host, right, just reminding him, listen, be excited, be passionate, cast vision for what you're going to do. Now, who in here knows that even though you coach the host on what to do and what to say, most times they get nervous and they forget everything and they mess up, yes or no? Okay? Well, see, what I've learned is you always need a backup plan. In the military, you have backup plans?
Yes.
How many backup plans?
Countless.
Countless backup plans. Because usually the first plan doesn't work, right? Or if it might half work, it might some work, right? So you need a backup plan. A lot of people don't have a backup plan in a home meeting. So what happens is the host gets up there, does a bad job hosting, and then the presenter's like thinking in their mind like, I can't believe I drove 3 hours here and you did that bad of a job hosting. No one's going to sign up now. This is going to be the biggest waste of a presentation ever. You don't want to do that. So if Phil gets up there, right, this Phil's a host, he gets up there, let's say Phil says something like this. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming out, everyone. I'm brand new in ACN, and, you know, sorry guys, I'm new, you know, I had a lot I was going to say, I just forgot everything. And this way it usually goes. And that's okay because they're new. You as the professional need a backup plan. Listen, we want Phil to knock it out of the park, but being new, he's probably going to mess up. So here's what I've learned to do, okay? You need to have a SWAT team member at that presentation give a testimonial when that presentation starts if the host messes up. Give me an example. What's your name, ma'am?
Eileen.
Eileen? Okay. You're going to be the SWAT team member. Okay? So let's say Eileen's in the business. I pull Eileen aside before the presentation starts. Hey, Eileen, listen, you know this is Phil's first presentation, right? Yeah, okay. So he's going to get up there and host. If he, is nervous or anything like that, forgets to edify, forgets to be confident, I'm going to allow you to give a testimonial at the beginning of the presentation, and I need you to give it back to me. But when you give it back to me, edify me and build respect into the presentation through me. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Irene?
Eileen.
Eileen. Okay? So Phil, why don't you just stand up and do a bad job? No, can you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, just stand up and do a bad job hosting. And watch what I do, okay? So I'm here, I'm the presenter, Phil's hosting, doing a bad job. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've got this presenter tonight. I think his name's Cody Mackey, or maybe it's Mackey Cody. Depending on what it is. But
That's bad.
I'd like to, introduce him so that everybody would really enjoy his, his presentation. Is that bad enough?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Phil. Let's give Phil a big round of applause for joining us. Listen, we're just so excited to have Phil a part of the team, and I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of people over the years, and I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character, and I know for sure that Phil is going to have tremendous success in ACN, and anyone that joins with him is also going to have big success. So let's give Phil a big round of applause for joining the team. We're excited to have him on board. Now, before I get started here, because I live about 2 hours away, and we have a local independent business owner here that's just doing a great, great job. Her name is Irene, and she's, right? Eileen, right? So obviously I would know what her name was, right? So we have Eileen, okay? So we have Eileen here, and she's a local representative doing great in the business, just doing fantastic things. Eileen, if you would just give a brief testimony just on your success, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Well, I've been in business for a short period of time. I currently have 5 business partners, about 30 customers. I owe my success to the training that I received from ACN. I've worked with Cody Mackey. He's doing very well in the business. He's in a senior position. He has over 100 customers,
Thousands of business partners.
thousands of business partners.
But does everyone see how this works?
Yeah.
Okay? So, and that's a great job. Let's give her a round of applause for that. So you need to have that backup plan, because now what happens, all the energy now comes back in the room. See, to sign people up, you need energy in the room.
Yeah.
And when that host gets up there and does and again, it's not they're doing a bad job, they're just new, but that's just how it is, right? So here's how someone should host. And not to toot my own horn, but I was really good at this from the get-go. I just was. I don't know if it's just something that came natural to me, but I would edify Aaron Burt so much that when he came to present, I can't tell you how many times my guest would show up in a shirt and tie. I did not tell them to wear a shirt and tie. They would show up to my house for the PBR in a shirt and tie, and I never told them to. Because I would edify him so much that they felt like they were coming to meet someone that was so special that they just didn't show up dressed anyway.
They were.
Right? They were, absolutely. So when I stood up, here's what I would say. I would say, listen, I want to thank you all for coming out here tonight to this presentation. I am beyond excited about this. This is the greatest thing I have ever seen in my life. I have never seen anything greater than this. And I've invited you here tonight so we can do this together. I've invited you here specifically because I know for a fact you can tear this business up, because I know I'm going to tear this business up. And we have an individual here that has been so successful in ACN Not only has he made a lot of money doing this, he truly has a passion to help people become successful. He knows all the information. He's literally an expert in this business. And outside of that, what's so important to me, I trust this man. This is someone that's been helping me every step of the way. I had an opportunity to meet his family. Just an incredible, incredible person. Let's give a big round of applause to team coordinator Aaron Burke. Right? So now, here's what happens. Now the guests are like, man, wow, I'm ready to receive this information. I'm excited. Because listen, people do not sign up on your team because they understand ACN. People sign up on your team because they believe they can succeed in ACN. Now, how do you get the guests to believe they can succeed? If you believe you're going to succeed. See, if you believe you're going to succeed, guess what happens to the guests? They believe they can succeed, and guess what they do? They sign up. So if you host a meeting and you stand up there, listen, thanks all for coming out. I'm brand new, just got introduced to this. You know, I'm doing this on the side, outside of my full-time job. You know, this may or may not be for you. You know, if it's not, no hard feelings. Thank you so much for coming out. No one's going to join. It doesn't matter how good the presentation is, no one's signing up, because here's what they're thinking. Why should I? You don't even believe in it. Why should I pay $499 if you don't even believe in it yourself? See, we put too much pressure on the presenter to get people in when the presenter is just the conveyor of information. That's all the presenter is. So who in here has learned that you need to work on your edifying? That's really what it's about. You have to edify like crazy. And it does, listen, you can edify an ECT the same way you can edify an SVP. Watch what I do, right? So let's say Phil's a presenter. I'm a host. He's an ETT. Watch what I do. Listen, I want to thank you all for coming out. I am so jacked up about this business. This is the greatest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. I have never seen anything that begins to compare with this, and that's why I had to share it with you. And listen, I had an opportunity to meet someone that's, you know, relatively new in this business, but he is tearing this thing up. He's already had 2 promotions in the company, and what I can relate to with this gentleman, he works a full-time job, he has a family, and he's tearing this thing up. He's having a lot of success. He's doing this part-time. I'm doing it part-time. He's busy. I'm busy. We're all busy. Who's busy? Do you see how I'm edifying an ETT? Not, oh man, I got an ETT coming to present my meeting. I don't think anyone's going to get in now. No, see, the presenter is not what matters. It's the edification that matters. Okay? So when you're going through the information, is this good so far?
Great.
Yes. Okay? So when you're going through the information, the presentation, like you'll see tomorrow when I present ACN, okay? I'm a very non-technical, non-specific presenter. Here's why. People do not make decisions based on logic. People make decisions based on emotion. See, people buy emotionally and they justify logically. See, logically, ACN makes sense, yes or no?
Yes.
And you think by explaining ACN logically, people are going to sign up. No, they're not. People buy emotionally and they justify logically. Okay? Like I just bought a car 2 months ago. A new Porsche Turbo S, right?
Nice.
So I like Porsche. Anyone like Porsche?
Yes.
Now, if you look at the Turbo S 911, it's the top of the 911 range, most power, right? Now, the interior looks the same as a regular Carrera. The exterior pretty much looks the same as a regular Carrera. But why in the world would you spend $100,000 more to get the Turbo S? Here's why. It has more power. Now, is that an emotional reason or a logical reason?
Emotional.
It's all emotional. But see, then when you buy something, we justify buying it with logic. Well, you know, I spent a lot more money on this, but the resale value will be more. Isn't that what we do? Right? See, we always try to justify with logic when we buy things with emotion. You know, ladies, you're no worse. When you go buy the handbag that has an LV on it, and it's not even leather.
Right.
It's made out of canvas. But you spend $2,000 on it because it says LV, and I'm not putting that down. Here's what I'm saying. You do it not based on logic. You do it based on what?
Emotion.
Emotion, right? And then when you buy it and you get it home, you're like, man, the quality of this. I mean, this quality, isn't that what you do? Yes or no? I'm not putting it down. It's just the way it is. So we all do that. We all buy with emotion, and then we justify it with logic. So when you're presenting ACN, first thing, have a great opening, have a great closing, and keep those to close to each other as possible. Got it?
Yes.
Have a great opening, have a great closing, and keep them what?
Close together.
Close together as possible. If you're long-winded, you're going to make no money in ACN.
True.
You hear people say, man, I'm going to tear this thing up. I love talking to people. I'm like, oh my God. Man, I'm so excited about ACN. I can sell ice to an Eskimo. Oh my God. See, those types of people, they need to be untrained. They need to be untrained. Because an idiot can complicate anything. It takes a real professional to simplify something, yes or no?
Yes.
Who's been involved in ACN longer than a year? You're a sophomore. Who's been involved in ACN longer than 2 years? Right? You're going in your junior year. Who's been involved in ACN 3-4 years? Right? You're going into your senior year. Now, when you have a guest come out to the presentation, what grade are they in? Pre-K. So if you're a junior in ACN and you're teaching the pre-K person junior information, what chance do you think they have of signing up?
Ooh.
Because confused people do what?
Nothing.
Nothing. See, I'll do a presentation and people will be like, well, Cody, can you tell them, can you explain to them how deregulation works? No, shut up. Cody, can you explain to them how that TC bonus works? No, be quiet. Be quiet. Because these are new people. And when someone is new, if you overwhelm them with information, confused people do nothing. See, when someone gets confused, they don't do anything. They just don't do anything. So the presentation has to be short, great opening, great closing. You know who I learned this from? Your mentor, Spencer Hunt. That's who I learned it from. I'll never forget. Aaron Burt was a team coordinator. I was an executive team leader. Spencer Hunt was a regional vice president, making insane money. This is when this was back in 2008, 2009, when he had the S-Class with the only $4.99. Yeah, everyone remember seeing that? Those of you that just making ridiculous money in ACN. I'll never forget, he came to Baltimore, and here's Aaron and I. We're standing in the back of the room. We think we know so much about ACN, and Spencer gets up there, and he's just funny, and his presentation is so plain, and it's just so simple, and Aaron and I are in the back of the room. Here's what we said to each other. We go, man, we're so much better presenting this than him. How dumb were we? See, because he understood something then that we didn't understand. We thought we had to be complicated and detail-oriented. Who in here is a detail-oriented person? That's okay, raise your hand. Let me say something to you. Most people are not. So if you're a detail-oriented person, and you're trying to explain all the details to people, most people are...
Simple.
Most people are just so simple. Did you know most people get in a car every single day, but they could not even tell you how their engine works?
That's me. Of course, what?
They don't know. They get in it every day. See, all they know is if I push the right pedal, I go. If I push the left pedal, I stop. And they're in the car every single day. All they want to know is, does it work?
We know how our
Right?
radio works too.
Right?
Al.
Is it simple? Right? What's that?
So we know how our radio works also.
Yeah, you know the
That's
radio
all
works?
we need.
Absolutely. So you don't have to be detail oriented in the presentation. So when that presentation's over, okay, here's what I like to do. When I'm presenting the information, I'm always scouting the room. And I'm scouting the room for people that are sitting on the edge of their seat, people that look like they're excited, okay, people who look like they're interested. And those are the people I'm going to go talk to as soon as the presentation is over. Now, you have to be very diplomatic here because the most negative person is going to want to talk to you first. That's why you have to ignore them. Literally, okay? So I want to kind of do a skit here and show you what I mean, okay? So stay set it like that. See how negative he looks? Set up on, right? Sit on that, okay? So just sit like that, right? So he's the most negative. He's really into the presentation, okay? So if I'm sitting here presenting the information, and what I like to do about it, I know this is kind of simple, but whatever level they're at, I like to sit at that level when I'm presenting, right? So if they're at this level, I want to present at this level. If they're all sitting on chairs like this, I want to sit on chairs like this. If they're all standing up, I'll stand up. I don't want to elevate myself during the presentation. I want to be on their level and relate. Make sense? So if it's like this, I'm not sitting on this chair doing a PBR. I'm going to get one of those chairs and sit on it so I'm on their level presenting the information, okay? So as soon as I'm done presenting, here's what I want. I want you to say something, okay? And I just want you to be quiet. Got it? All right. So thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate your time. So what we're going to do is just come to you individually. Just talk to you, see where you want to go with the opportunity. If you're ready to get started, welcome to the team. If not, we appreciate you coming in. So why don't you give yourself a round of applause for coming. We appreciate your time.
I got a question.
Thanks for coming, man.
Sir.
So what do you like most about what you said?
Excuse me.
You like that? Me too, man. Absolutely. I just act like he's not even alive. Because one negative person will ruin your whole meeting. Ruin the whole meeting. Now, before that presentation, the day of, the night before, you need to find out how many guests are coming. And for every guest, or every two guests, you need one SWAT team member. So if there are 10 guests at the presentation, you want about 4 IBOs with you at that presentation. If you have 20 guests show up to the presentation, you want about 8 to 10 IBOs with you at that presentation. Because if you do a presentation, it's you and the host, and you have 20 guests show up, it's chaos at the end of the meeting. It's utter chaos. So you need to take SWAT team members with you to the presentation. And again, you know, it doesn't have to be in your downline or up. Work together. Who loves that we work together, right? Yeah. Work together. Because if you go to someone else's meeting and help them, what will they do for you? Come to your meeting, help you. See, we're all in this together. See, when ACN grows bigger, guess who benefits? All of us. Because when your guests come to a meeting with 1,000 people, it's way more exciting to them than them coming to a meeting with 100 people, right? So if everyone helps everyone, everyone wins, okay? So that meeting's over. I'm scouting the room. When I go up to a guest, as soon as the presentation's over, here's some things you never want to say, okay? Y'all ready? Yeah. Never say this. So you got any questions?
Yes.
Never say that. Never, ever, ever ask the guests, so do you have any questions? Here's why. Because if he doesn't have questions, and he's ready to sign up, now to look intelligent, now he thinks he has to come up with a question. Got it? See, what I want is to get a positive out of him. Okay, watch what I do. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it, man. You look excited.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so what'd you like most about what you heard?
Pretty much everything. I wasn't discouraged about anything.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Well, listen, so it sounds like you're ready to get started?
Yes.
Okay, welcome to the team. Welcome.
Thank you.
See how simple? Okay, so let me break this down. So when I go up to him, first question is, right, so I'll say something, small talk. Hey, thanks for coming out. You look excited. What did you like most, or what did you like best about what you heard? And then here's what you do. Let them talk. See, the more they talk, the more they're going to talk themselves into doing the business. The more you talk, the more you're going to talk them out of doing the business. Just let him talk. Just let him talk. Let's say it was a bunch of things that he liked about ACN, so be specific, okay? So thanks for coming out. So what'd you like most about what you heard?
Pretty much the motivational speaking.
Awesome, man. Me too. Me too. See, whatever he says, I just agree with. Right?
Yeah.
The Me Too movement. Me too. Right? Whatever he says, it's Me Too. Say that you like the money. So what did you like most about what you heard? Say you like the money.
The money, of course, the money, always the money.
Me too, man. Say you like the time freedom it gives your family. So what did you like most about what you heard?
The time of freedom will give my family and I.
Me too, man. Me too. See, whatever he likes, it's me too. Not, hey, let me tell you what I like. It's me too. Me too. See, when you make a decision, don't you want other people to be on the same page that you're at? Yeah. See, before you buy something, don't you go to look for people that have it? And you want them to like it for the same reasons you like it? Right? So whatever they say, what do you say? Now, if I go to him and I say, what'd you like most about what you heard? And he has a question, I need to stay in control of the conversation. Okay? Because he or she that's in control of the conversation controls the argument, or controls the conversation, okay? So, have some questions. Watch what I do. So thanks for coming up. So what'd you like most about what you heard?
Pretty much,
No, say I have a question.
I have a question.
Okay, about becoming an IBO or a customer?
About a customer.
About a customer? Okay, well listen, I want to get to these people, just to be fair to them, to see if they're ready to get started. Don't leave, okay? If you have to leave, here's a VIP training pass to our training on Saturday. I'm going to circle around and see if they're ready to get started, but please don't leave. I'll come back and answer all your questions, okay?
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Hey, thanks for coming out. So what'd you like most about what you heard? Now listen, watch. This is how I do this. So what'd you like most about what you heard?
Money.
Money? Me too, man. Me too. So it sounds like you're ready to get started?
Yeah.
Awesome. Welcome to the team. Awesome. Let's welcome to the team. See, when someone's ready to get started, make a big deal about it. And the reason you want to make a big deal about it is because people are predictable. If one person does something, the other person does something. It always blows my mind. Like, if you're in traffic and like you see the sign that says road closed 10 miles down the road, most people will just get in a lane and sit there for like 4 hours. Yes or no?
Yeah.
And why are they doing that? Because most people are doing it. Yes or no? Right. Now, if I look at road closed 10 miles, I'm the type of person, I'm going to ride as long as I can over here and then get in. Yes or no? Yeah. And as I'm always passing all these people, I'm like, it's like 4 miles down the road. Why are you just sitting here? Like what is going on? It's because people just follow what other people do. That's just what they do. So if he's ready to sign up in the business and I make a big deal about it, if he's on the fence about getting started, what's he thinking now? Ready to sign up. Now here's some important things. This is why you need SWAT team members at your presentation. Because if there's 4 guests there and I'm the only person and the host is too afraid to say anything, right? I need to take a SWAT team member with me to close these people. Okay? So here's what I do. If he's ready to sign up and it's just me, I take him. Well, listen, hey, welcome to the team. Come over here real quick. Guys, don't leave, okay? Come over here, okay? So I pull out a laptop and I start to sign him up. And here's what I do. I do not leave him until I sign him up. When someone is ready to sign up, don't what? Leave them. The mistake people make. Here's the mistake people make. Hey, welcome to the team. Just go ahead and sign up. Just put your information. I'm going to go talk to these guests over here. Okay? Now, what ends up happening is I'm talking to him about getting customers. What's he start doing? No, he gets up. He gets up. He walks over. You signing up? Look what I found online. See that? Isn't this what what negative people do?
Yeah.
See, negative people will try to talk the person out of doing the business that's signing up in the business. So when someone's ready to sign up, you literally have to guard that person. You have to get them in the system. Because when I go do a meeting, I'm doing that meeting to get a business partner. Yes or no?
Yes.
Listen, if I drove 2 hours to do a meeting, thank you. So if I drove 2 hours to do a meeting, if it was my gas, if it was my tolls, if I took time away from my family, you better believe I'm not leaving there without a paid app. Who in here is going to get some apps? Going to get some apps, right? So when he signs up, watch what I do. Hey, welcome to the team. Hey, so glad to have you on board. So let me ask you this. Do I have your permission to give you some coaching and help you what I've learned so far in ACN? Okay. So just so I know how to coach you, do you want to walk? Do you want to run? Do you want to sprint? How do you want to build this?
I want to run.
You want to run? Okay, fantastic. Let me ask you something. If you got a flat tire on the way home tonight, like you left this meeting, you got a flat tire, who would you call?
My cousin Steve.
Okay, let's say he didn't pick up, who else would you call?
My friend Caleb.
If Caleb didn't pick up, who else would you call?
My friend Joey.
Joey, okay. Call those 3 people. What are you doing tomorrow afternoon? Do you work?
Yeah,
Okay, how about tomorrow evening?
that's good.
Can you get those people to your house tomorrow, those 3?
Yeah.
Okay, get them there. I'm going to come present tomorrow.
Flawless.
See, he wants to run. If he wants to, or he said he wants to sprint, right? If he wants to sprint, guess what I'm doing? Sprint. So you need to know how to properly coach people, right? So if he wants to sprint, I'm getting in front of his contacts right away. And if I do that presentation early enough in the day, who can you put me in front of tonight? If you left this meeting and got a flat tire, who would you call? Who would you bring? Okay? So hopefully that was helpful tonight. Was it helpful? So we can either end, we can do a Q&A for a few minutes. What would you like to do?
That's a good question. We could keep the Q&A for tomorrow.
Whatever you want to do.
Wow, I can't believe my house is about to explode.
Without air conditioner.
I'm sorry some of you are hot and uncomfortable, but there were only supposed to be 60 of you here. But everyone was calling and wanting to be added to this thing. So what happened is I couldn't say no to you guys because of the information that we got from Cody. I mean, I don't I'm telling you, I've been doing this business for 9 years, and I've had 2 mentors who mentored me, and they also mentored Cody, and Cody outpassed those 2 mentors by a home run. And every time Cody comes to my market, I make sure I go to listen to him. And this is what I can tell you. Yeah, wait. It would be so a shame that we are not taking all this information and apply it. And by coming tomorrow and bringing as many people as you can, guests and also your teammate. Because how foolish will it be of us to have all this information and not apply it? How selfish would it be of us to know all the information that we know and not give it to as many people as we can? People tell us, I'm sure they say the same, you guys are making so much money, why are you doing it? It has nothing to do with the money. I didn't get into ACN for the money. I knew how to make money before. I got ACN for the freedom. But in the process, I've met so many real, beautiful people that are more like my family than my own family. See, there's only one person in this room that is my family. Only one. And I have many of them. And I have many, many friends before ACN. And there's only one of them in this room. And I showed this opportunity to him 9 years ago when I started. And he said, no, it's not for me, it's not for him. But guess what? My vision was my vision. Nobody's gonna take my vision away. I pursued this business and I became a regional vice president, and there's a lot more to go because ACN is just gonna create higher and higher level for the people who want to work. That he saw me 9 years, 8 years later. And I said, how is the grinding business going? Because he was grinding it for all those years. Because I had stopped.
What's his name?
But the story is, see, he remained the same, and things have changed for me. 9 years ago, for some of you who know, I was homeless. I had nothing. but my vision was pure. And I started this business at the age of 59. You know why? Because I had no time. And I was running out of time. So how many of you love ACN? Really? Love it? I have to tell you guys, you're a bunch of liars. But I'm telling you like it is. Because if you love it the way I love it, and the way Cody loves it, and some of the serious people in business, you will not stop talking about ACN. That's right. You will not hesitate to do ACN. See, some of you got into ACN and think it's a lotto ticket. And hopefully, maybe you're going to get wealthy. It'll never happen.
That's right.
Because I paid such a high price in all my business that I had. I'm talking about $500,000 for one business, $250,000 for another business. And because I did not know the business, I made tons of mistakes. I did not have an upline that told me, do what I'm telling you, and I can avoid lots of your money and a lot of mistakes. But as a business owners, this is what we have to do. We make more mistakes than a person who's not making a mistake. And the more mistake you make, the more powerful you become. Because we all know ACN builds your character by making mistakes. Anybody who gets into the business builds your business. But I've learned from Cody and some other leaders as well that what he gave you tonight blew my mind, because I've made a lot of mistakes and I'm still making mistakes, and I'm not afraid to make mistakes. Because you know my relationship with my exes, those are mistakes, but I got beautiful kids out of it. And in life, there's always got to find a positive in everything. And I'm on my third wife with a brand new own baby, 68 years old, and I am more alive than some of you who are half my age. I put this room together for you guys by myself. I rearranged this room. I took walls down and all that because I said, listen, there's only 3 people live in this house. This is a 5,000 square foot home. Why did I do what I did? Because I have the vision of knowing who I'm working with in the future. Where are we going to take this business in the future? I already know. The question is, are you the one?
Oh, yes.
And you know, I have to take a picture of all of you, and I do this all the time. I don't know if you do the same. Only because a lot of you are not going to be here next time Cody comes or somebody else comes in. Because you're going to give up on your dream and you're going to let somebody steal them.
Fact.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I want you to wave, and I want to take a picture of you for 2 reasons. One, so I can laugh at some of you are not going to be here. I'm sorry, the next time I told you.
Where all the quitters at?
Yeah, we're up. I knew it. And I do this, I do the same. I said, when I sign up an IPO, I look at him like this. I said, this could be my next RVP, or this is the guy who's going to quit. But I said to myself, and I don't know, maybe I should say it or not, but I'm going to tell it like it is. I look at someone and says, I give him 6 months. I give this one 3 months. You know why? Because I already expect him to quit. Because if he quit, guess what? I told you. I knew it. If he didn't, he'd surprise me. So 6 months later, says, you know what? That was a great 6 months. Let's see you in 6 months more. So I'm going to take a picture of you and send me a picture that says, where were you at the last meeting that we had? Because you were there saying, I'm the one. I love ACN. But you gave up. So hold on. You want to wave? You can wave. Hold it. Go ahead. Just Cody. We start with Cody. Let's go. Let's see the waving. Yeah. You're so excited today. Let's see what happens in 6 months from now. Oh, yeah. I see you right there. I see you there. A little higher. Yeah. You. 6 months. That was cool. Anyway, I have a lot of these videos. Now, the proof of the pudding is what?
Can I give one tip?
Always.
Let me say this one thing about the guests you have coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
To what to say to them when they back out at last minute. Okay. I'm about to give you some gold nuggets right now. Okay. When you have guests that are coming tomorrow, and when your guests back out, they usually back out about 10 minutes before. Yes or no? Okay. So when they back out, here's the call or text message you send them back. Okay. So let's say their name's John. They back out 10 minutes before the meeting. Here's the message back or the phone call back. John, I'm so thankful that you are not able to make this meeting. Here's why. I know this sounds crazy. I was not going to have time to work with you anyways, even if you joined, because we have so much momentum going on right now. I just didn't know how to tell it to you. So I'll call you after the meeting to see if we can schedule an appointment in the next few weeks, but it might be a little bit longer based on the momentum that we have going on. So what you're doing, what you do is you take it away from them instead of chasing them. Got it? Okay.
Great. Oh. And so here's the scenario that we all have as a team, because we're a team. Even though some of you are not in my team, we're an ACN team. Tomorrow is game day. Tomorrow, I'm going to be at the front door greeting you coming in, and I'm going to see who in this picture did not make it. And I'll send you a reminder. I'll send you a reminder of how much you lied about loving ACN and being part of the team and all of that. Because we cannot do it alone. We need to do it, and we need you to win for us to win. We all win together. So, as a respect to Cody, who came in 5 hours away to do this for nothing. In every business I had to spend so much money to learn the business. He's giving it to us for free. For $5 for dinner time, forget about it, but for free. And you guys are not taking it seriously and applying it? What are you afraid of? What's holding you back? What's your problem? You know, I tell people like it is. I said, look, you got us working for you, and you got a problem? So, I want to see every one of you with a bunch of guests and your teammate and grab them and just put them in the car and say, where are we going? Don't worry about it. I'll bring it home in 2 hours. That would be the best gift you can give your loved one if you say that you love ACN. So, we have food upstairs in my office up there, but because the amount of people that showed up, we only made food for 60. Oh. That means 40 of you are starving. So be kind. Give a little bit of to yourself just to give, and share with everyone.
Thank you,
we
Cody.
Go upstairs. We'll see you all tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock.